What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over a really great method for making melodies that'll work every single time. So if you're ready, let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first step and the most important step, I can't stress this enough, is to make sure the sound that you're using, the main sound or whatever, is a really good high quality sound. You should be able to just play on it a little bit and it sounds good to you, and literally the only thing left to do is make a pattern. Okay, and for this beat I used a piano, so the main sound is this one. Okay, a really high quality piano sound. I use Keyscape, that's where I get my pianos from. Okay, so the special method I want to talk about is called the attack it from all sides method. So literally what we're going to do is we're going to find a good instrument like we just found already, and then we're going to make somewhere around like 3 to 5 different super simple patterns. We're just going to either play something out on the keyboard or click something into the MIDI and just come up with a couple different examples of things that sound simple but also sound really good. So that's the first step, so let's do that. Okay, so then after you found your favorite one out of all the different renditions you did and you fixed it up a little bit, made it even better, then you can go on and start moving to the different counter melodies and layers that you're going to add with it. So it's literally that simple. Now let's take a look at this right here. Okay, so obviously I started off with this piano, right? But there was 2 different renditions that I chose from. I think I ended up making like 5 or 6 really simple patterns at the beginning, slimmed it down to 2, and I kept the 2 the whole entire time. So this is the one that I ended up going with. So let's take a look at that really quick. Okay, and don't get intimidated by this at all. This is literally 2 different layers, 2 different octaves of the same exact note. So you can pretend like one of these is off. So I did, however, throw a couple just basic bass notes down here. As you can see, it's just the 2 notes that are being played above. Nothing crazy going on. It's just 2 layers of the bass as well. But yeah, super simple pattern, just goes up and down like that. So something really simple like that can work perfectly fine. And the other one that I was having a debate with was this one, which you'll see, which is even more simple. It still sounds really good. But yeah, it's even more simple than that one that we just did right there. Alright guys, so I had a really solid first melody down. It was pretty much the base of all the other melodies and whatever's going to happen. And honestly, we could have just used that and made it work, right? Add some effects to it, make it sound really good, and build some drums off it. But I wanted to add a little bit more, put a different effect and feel onto it. So the first thing I did before moving on to any other melodies is I went ahead and layered that with another piano sounding instrument. And that other one sounded like this. So you can probably hear it, but this one's all highs. Like I literally chopped out all the lows in this one and just left the highs. Because I like how the clicky sound of it, it made the other one sound more realistic when I added this one in. So together they sound like this. And it was really that simple. So I just found 2 good layers that worked really well together and called it a day. And now we can move on to the next part, the counter melody. Okay, so for this counter melody, I just wanted to use like some sort of a bell that has a little more high end and was just a little bit of a counter. But this one ended up coming out so simple. Once you see the MIDI, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so I ended up using this bell right here from a Starlight plugin that I have, and it sounds like this. Let's take a look at this MIDI as well. Like, it doesn't really get much simpler than that, really. I mean, it really doesn't. So, yeah, that's literally all I did for this bell. It sounded really good. It was really simple. It was catchy. That's all it needed to be. These things don't need to be crazy. So what I did from there is I obviously layered it again because these are going to be the 2 main driving sounds in here. So I want them each to have a different feel. And also, when you're layering melodies, you can get some really cool effects sometimes. Instead of just like doubling it up on the same sort of sounds, you could mix it up, you could go crazy with it, and that's where your sound design is going to come into play. So I picked out another bell type sound to go with this. Same MIDI for it, but this is what it sounded like. Okay, so together with the piano, they sound like this now. Super, super simple. Still sounds really good. Still sounds catchy. We're on a roll. So now let's add in just some extra little things to kind of help fill in the gaps. Okay, so this thing that I found ended up just being like a texture. So I had some sample packs, or some drum packs, I should say, that had some textures in it. They were just like background noise type of deals. So I wanted to use something a little bit unique. And I found this one that was called Creepy Kids. And yeah, it's just some creepy kid noises. You'll notice that it just makes it sound thicker overall. So this is what they sound like now. Okay, so this next one just came by accident, honestly. I had a choir open, a choir instrument that I was going to use because I wanted to try using a choir with these bells and stuff like that, and piano. But it didn't end up working out. But what I did notice is when I went into a really high octave, it almost gave it like more of like a yell, screechy sort of a sound. And that actually sounded kind of cool. It was like a different little texture FX sound in the background that went with everything else. So by itself, it sounded like this. It's just 3 notes. Alright, so the last part of the melody, and obviously we have the bass, and we'll talk about that really quick as well, but the last part of the actual melody that we used was like a one-shot that I found in a one-shot kit. So I threw it in at the very end here. You can see it's not middle. Middle would be right around this section, but a little bit past that in this section of the beat, and it sounds pretty darn cool. So adding little effects, you know, textures, things like that can really sound cool in your melody, so don't shy away from using those. Alright, and the last thing is the bass, right? Alright, so let's take a look at the bass. And guys, I didn't use any special plugin or anything. I literally used a sample that I found from a sample drum kit. And those bass notes that we saw on the piano earlier, I actually ended up copying those bass notes from the piano and using this on this bass instrument. So yeah, I literally just followed the MIDI word for word, right? You can see that it's literally just following it exactly how it went. The only difference is right here, I actually put one an octave higher. So all I did is I took what this note would be, and then I put that up 1 octave, and I overlaid it a little bit so that way it glides up. Right, it glides up, and then at the very end, it glides back down to that same note right there at the very end. So that's literally all it does. And the glide I used for that is just 111 milliseconds. I usually use right around 100 for glides. So altogether, guys, it is sounding like this now. Cool, guys, so I hope you're liking this one. If you guys want to see how I mix this down, how I mix my melodies, how I do everything from putting them in the right stereo field to like adding reverb to mixing it, EQing it, different things like this. If you want to see that, make sure to smash the like on this video and also comment below that you want to see me do that, and I'll make a part 2 for this melody where I show you guys the rest of the stuff that I haven't showed you yet, just the different plugins I'm using and how I think about it when I'm going to add effects to my melodies. So also smash the like button even if you don't want to see it, just to help this video get going a little bit. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because we're uploading videos like this all the dang time that you're not going to want to miss out on. And besides that, guys, I'll be catching all of you beautiful mother in the next one. Peace out.